Hello and welcome into the Hill City here on Schellenberger Field. It's the Hornets taking on the Salisbury Seagulls in a top 20 matchup. Joe Brennan joined alongside my good friend and partner, Lynchburg Lacrosse legend Chris Jennings in the press box with us here today. Chris, we should have a great one on our hands this afternoon.
Absolutely. Every time that these two teams play on Schellenberger, it's normally a 1 or 2 goal games if you look at the past 10 years of games at Lynchburg, and so I'm expecting another great one today.
Without a doubt. The last 4 years, or the last 4 times, they've played here in Lynchburg, it has been a 1 or 2 goal game. However, last season, Salisbury got the best of the Hornets up in Maryland. It was a 13-8 final. Nevertheless, these are two very different teams coming in this year.
Absolutely. Lynchburg's got a lot of young faces in new spots where they've had to rely on some seniors and fifth years the past couple years, where I'm excited to see how they respond in a big-time game. Obviously, with the weather today, it won't be exactly like it was 2 weeks ago when we played Gettysburg, but I'm expecting a lot of good things. And then with Salisbury, same with them. They have some returners that have been in big moments, but a lot of new faces on the offensive side. They're going to rely on that defense to hold them true this game.
Well, 2 more games under Salisbury's belt so far this year after they started on the 1st of February. Let's take a look at the numbers for these two teams entering today. Chris.
Yeah, so you can see that Lynchburg's a little bit ahead on goals this year, but with the assists, Salisbury, they like to produce a lot out of the midfield, with Bromwell being number 6. He likes to feed the ball. He's looking for guys on the crease, open shots. He likes to draw, so that way he can get those assists, where Lynchburg, a little bit better. I think something that's going to be big is the face-off. Both teams above 60%. When you see that, you know it's going to be a good battle at the X.
Oh, without a doubt. That should certainly be a fun one that we will have our eyes on here today. And you mentioned it, a lot of experience in this Salisbury defense. They bring back the player of the year from a season ago with John DeFazio. He is certainly someone that will have his hands full, nevertheless, with a very talented Lynchburg attack line.
Absolutely. This Lynchburg attack line over the past 2 years has started pretty much every game together with Hastings, Schmidt, and Vanderberg. A lot of experience, a lot of goals, a lot of starts between the 3 of them. DeFazio is going to have a good time trying to be an eraser for this Salisbury defense and really anchor in, not allow too many shots from the inside. Hastings loves to feed the crease to Vanderberg so that way he can score.
Riley Hastings, someone that really got it going in the last game against against Pfeiffer. Had somewhat of a slower start, but still put up some points in that first game against Gettysburg. But the offensive conditions really limited things. But he knows Salisbury very well. Had 3 goals against the Seagulls a year ago.
Absolutely. Hastings has done a great job, especially over the past couple of years, maturing and really letting the game come to him. 2 years ago, maybe got a little excited in that first meeting here on Schellenberger when we played Salisbury, but I think as a junior now, in a lot of games, NCAA tournament games, he's really stepped up, and I'm expecting another big day out of him.
There's still going to be a whole lot of offensive production for the Seagulls on the other end. They sport one of, if not the best midfielders in all of Division III lacrosse, with Bryce Bromwell, who's gotten off to an explosive start to begin this season.
Yeah, Bryce has done a great job. If you look at the family lineage, they just produce All-Americans, his older brothers both being Player of the Year at Salisbury, and he's looking to pick up right where they've left off, and he's going to do a lot of carrying the ball. And if he can feed the crease, feed his teammates, he's going to do so. That's why he's got 9 goals and 18 assists so far this year.
18 assists, if that stands out to you, it should. So far this year, he started off with 10 points in the first game against Eastern. He had 3 goals and 7 dimes, then 2 assists the next game, 4 against Scranton, 5 against Gettysburg. He has been an absolute machine. It's a big reason why he was the preseason midfielder of the year by USA Lacrosse.
Yep, he's a great player, and I'm really excited to see what he's able to do today.
With that being said, let's take you through the starting lineups here today. First, for the Lynchburg Hornets. In between the pipes for Lynchburg, it'll be Miller once again leading the charge. Accompanying him in the defensive unit, it's Mahoney, Haley, and Steele. At the midfield, it's Parker Seeley, Riley Frankel making his return to the center circle, and Luke Meadows. And in the attack line, we already talked about Hastings, then Spencer Vandenberg and Finn Schmidt to accompany him.
Yeah, and you look at this Lynchburg team, a lot is going to rely on this defense. We're going to want to see what they can do. Andrew Miller's going to, he's the senior. He's been put in this situation because the coaching staff trusts him. He's going to come up with hopefully some big saves for the Hornets.
A big mixture of talent on that defensive unit. As we mentioned, a very new and inexperienced group in terms of starts. Obviously, with guys like Steele that have been in the program and know how things are done. We'll talk about that more throughout the day. Now the starting 10 for the Salisbury Seagulls. In the cage, it'll be Nicholas Random, who started all 22 games the last 2 seasons for the Seagulls. In the defensive unit alongside him, it'll be Seamus Johnson, Bryce Stevenson, and John DeFazio. We've already mentioned Jeremy Stafford, Blake Malafy, and Evan Huffman at the midfield unit. Then Chris Wong, Ryan D'Elia, and Connor Haraz at the attacking line.
Yeah, this Salisbury defense gives up not very many shots, and they're going to make sure that the goalie has something to work with.
And 2 experienced coaches also at the helm for both of these sides. For the Seagulls, it's Jim Berkman in his 37th year with Salisbury. Started there actually as an assistant coach, then spent some time at 2 other schools with a brief stint. He has the most NCAA wins here for Salisbury, over 600 with a 90% winning percentage. As a 13-time national champion, he's certainly experienced, and more experience on the other side as well with Steve Kudelka and the Lynchburg Hornets. Kudelka, obviously a 10-time ODAC champion for Lynchburg, and these two are quite familiar with one another, and I'm certain both of them want to walk away today with a victory. With that being said, we will step aside momentarily for the playing of the national anthem. Stick with us. The top 20 matchup on Lacrosse Saturday coming up on LHSN on Lacrosse TV.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
And we welcome you back into Schellenberger Field on the campus of the University of Lynchburg. It's the Hornets playing host to the Salisbury Seagulls. Joe Brennan here alongside my good friend and partner, Chris Jennings. Chris, obviously both of these sides looking for a signature win to begin their 2025 campaign. What do you think each side needs to do in order to walk away with a victory?
Absolutely. So on the Salisbury side, they're going to want to make sure they can control the faceoff X. That is something that they have done traditionally as a program, is control the faceoff X, let their offense get to work. And then on the defensive side, just making sure to really hold and check the offense for Lynchburg, making sure the attackmen don't have a lot of time and space to keep their hands free. Then on the Lynchburg side, they're going to want to make sure that they're laying shots up that Andrew Miller can make good saves on. He wants to get shots from the outside. They're not changing levels a whole lot, so if the defense can keep the stick in their hands, he's going to have a good day. And then offensively, to sort of combat the Salisbury defense, Riley Hastings, Spencer Vanderberg, and Finn Schmidt are going to want to make sure that they're moving constantly and just making it a hard time for that defense to know where they are on the field.
Without a doubt. You mentioned the face-off circle. That's going to be a big one. Frankel really dominated at the center circle in the first matchup of this season against Gettysburg, but Lynchburg really struggled to maintain possessions and really gather momentum after those face-off wins. Nevertheless, probably his toughest matchup, without a doubt, so far this season, with a guy like Malanphy, who had a winning percentage of 64% last year, which was good for the 28th best in Division III. And he also wins them quick and scoops it up quick. Always a threat to score in transition. That's a big reason why he was a preseason All-American honorable mention. This team for Salisbury, 8 preseason All-Americans. So you know they're loaded with talent. This is a team that doesn't necessarily rebuild and rather reloads.
Absolutely. This Salisbury team every year comes into the top 5. Normally they're ranked number 1 or 2, and that is a team that everyone wants to beat when they see them on the schedule, and it's because of those 13 national championships and the program that Jim Berkman's built here.
Yeah, and they've done a great job of really developing talent, also bringing in a lot of experienced talent. We saw a guy like Chris Wong, Johns Hopkins transfer that came in a season ago and entered the starting lineup in mid-April and had immediate impact. He was someone that finished with 5 hat tricks, 2 of which came in the NCAA tournament. And Salisbury certainly looking to make it back to the NCAA tournament. A team that fell last year in the quarterfinal to Washington and Lee in overtime, 16-15. Salisbury squad that, making the quarterfinal seems to be the floor. Every single season with Berkman has gone to the quarterfinal or further, which really says something about a program.
Absolutely. When you think about Salisbury, you think about a team that is filing for a national championship. That is the expectation, that is the standard that they have over in Salisbury. And today, I know that they're going to be out to prove a statement that last year losing in the quarterfinals was a fluke, and they want to make sure that everyone in the country knows that they are the best team.
Well, Coach Berkman told me earlier this week, when you got a program whose culture is winning championships, you're everybody's biggest game. And that certainly is the case here today for Lynchburg. Taking on the number 3/2, depending on which poll you look at, the Salisbury Seagulls. Early movement at the center circle from Malanphy, and Holman wins his first of the day. Now the offensive unit comes on for Lynchburg. It'll be Voigt alongside preseason second-team All-American in Rust, joined by Liam Holman, who's also had a really great start to this season.
And you can see that they have 2 poles up top, really trying to shut off Jake Rust, the second-team All-American, and see what these other midfielders can do. Grant Voigt being a 5th year and Holman being a sophomore, but with a lot of experience, and he's got range to shoot from the outside.
Holman, a guy that had a great campaign in his freshman season, has already shown signs of growth and development you can tell he's got a whole lot of faith with the coaching staff when you can step in and be a day one starter at that midfield line that has a whole lot of experience. Hastings from X curls back up top. He'll retreat. Great defense from the Seagulls.
Yeah, what Hastings trying to do is really catch some space and see if he can get a cutter that's cutting through the middle of the field, because you know he's going to want to feed first, but he also is a threat to score.
Hastings once again, he'll retreat. 10 on the shot clock. Gotta go. Hastings winds and fires. Great save by the keeper in Ransom. Long pass across the field and a beautiful connection reeled in by Della. Della 9 goals this season, along with 1 assist. And Salisbury will reset up top with Strube. Driving inside is Keaton. He'll take it down low. Back up top to the center of the box. Good ball movement here from the Seagulls.
This is interesting, Joe. They got a short stick on Bromwell. I think the goal for them is to shut him off and make everyone else beat them. You know he's going to want to facilitate this offense.
Now matched up with the long pull and steal. They'll switch him over. Right back over the top. Strube wants to go. Good cutoff by the defensive midi in Sealy. On him like bark on a tree. Back up top. Keaton steps into it. Off the mark. No, a save.
That's a big one for Miller. Getting the first one, seeing that first shot, and making a clean save is going to help his confidence today.
I think confidence is a really big thing, especially when you made your first career start 2 games ago. And the coaching staff has a lot of faith in him. They said at the beginning of the year, just because you're a senior and you haven't started a game yet doesn't mean that you're not talented. He was very patient, sat behind a very, very talented keeper during his tenure here with the Hornets. And this coaching staff and Steve Kudelka are confident he could be an all-ODAC performer. Rust winds and fires the tad outside, but Vandenberg right there to back it up.
And that's exactly what the Hornets want to see, is Jake Rust get his hands free. Obviously, he's going to his left hand, which is not his dominant hand, but the fact that he's able to get a clean shot on net, but it's a great shot because it's not going straight into the goalie, and it's not a possession save.
Now Hastings curls from X, gets the switch on to Seamus Johnston, another guy that came in this season as a transfer out of Trinity College. Trying to get his hands free, but harassed by Stafford. 5 on the shot clock. Got to get something off. And they'll toss it into the corner.
That's that Salisbury defense. They're going to make you wait, and they're going to give everything. And it's a thing that we like to call fool's gold. It's when you think you have something, but it's really not there. And so Lynchburg's offense is going to have to be really careful with knowing what they're going to do here today.
Another long pass. Miller at midfield. He's out of position, but a big-time ground ball off the carpet and into the stick. Picked up by Kyler Mahoney. I mean, that's dangerous territory when you have your keeper stumbling right around midfield.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting what the Hornets have today is having Andrew Miller come up and make the Salisbury pulls and goalies make those decisions instead of just giving it to their midfield or attackman and just letting them run it right across the midfield line. They're going to make these clears a lot more challenging.
Oh, we've seen him try and just gulman it all the way down the field. It's been successful so far. Down the right alley, finding the back netting. Bryce Bromwell gets the party started.
Yeah, great move by Bromwell, getting to a strong hand. The Hornets there, unfortunately, did have no help for Mahoney as he went right by him.
4.5 minutes into the contest, we get our first of the day, right past Mahoney and into the back of the cage, his 10th goal of the season. He highlighted his passing, but he can surely make plays on his own. Another face-off today and another face-off win for the Hornets. Sealy advances to Finn Schmidt. Lynchburg will slow down and allow their offensive unit to come on.
You'll see this first-line midfield out of the Hornets come out onto the field for the third straight time. Coach Kudelka knows that their conditioning is in a good spot, but don't be afraid to put out those second and third-line midfields because Coach Kudelka's got a lot of trust in them as well.
1-0 Salisbury out in front. Vandenberg to the top of the box. They'll give it back up. Rust wants to go. Driving down the left alley, another save. Random, pardon me. A great start to this contest, 2 for 2. Whoa!
That was a close one there, Joe.
You said it. You've got a lot of daylight in front of you.
As a pole, your eyes light up when you see the goalie out of the net, and you're always going to want to take that shot. And something that you're told as a pole is make sure that you're either hitting the net, or it's going past, so that way the attackman can back it up and you retain possession.
Cromwell puts that one on the ground over the top of the cage. Seagulls right there to back it up. Salisbury looking to add to their total. Haraz back up top, and another one. This time it's Chris Wong. His 6th goal of the year. We talked a little bit about him earlier. He is someone you got to keep tabs on when he's on X.
Absolutely.
On the crease, pardon me.
Absolutely. That is something that this Lynchburg defense, when we were talking about at the beginning, is giving up shots that Andrew Miller feels confident with. When you leave a guy right open on the crease, that is not a shot Andrew Miller is going to want to face because that is an incredibly hard save to make. But credit to Wong putting that away.
And how about the start at the face-off circle for Frankel, 3 for 3, but eerily similar to what we saw against Gettysburg, where the offense just really couldn't find its rhythm after winning all those face-offs. Granted, the conditions were a big thing in that Gettysburg game. In the month of February, the city of Lynchburg has had the 4th most rain since 1900. And I bet most of that came in that Gettysburg contest.
Yeah, you know, when that rain starts to fall, the ball becomes a little slicker, and it falls out of the stick that much more. So I'm sure that these guys today are real happy with the weather, given that it's perfect conditions.
Brody Mason puts one on the deck, scooped up by Vandenberg at X. Guarded by McCowan. Gets the inside, and a great trail check. That one looked like Seamus Johnston getting into the picture. And another turnover from Lynchburg. Now it's Bryce Stevenson up the near sideline looking for some help. Headed for the goal, and he's got it from midfield. You think his eyes lit up right there?
Absolutely. You saw the call coming from the sideline to fire that, and he took full advantage. Best thing about that shot is that he did not put it on the ground. He put it right through the air, and that's why it found the back of the net.
A pole goal from Stevenson. The All-CLC second team selection from a season ago gets his first goal of the 2025 campaign. And just like that, Salisbury out in front with 3 goals in 3 minutes. Here come the Hornets in transition. Great stick to knock it away.
Yeah, Frankel's doing a great job at the X, really controlling, and he's done a great job. That one, it almost looked like he wanted to sort of push the envelope, but great stick by the Salisbury defender.
Salisbury will settle on the far side of the field. No need to rush right now for the Seagulls. Everything going your way outside of the face-off. And they've seemed to do okay without it.
Yeah, and that is the great thing about over the past couple years of having the shot clock. The face-off has still become a very important part of the game, but you can still be successful without it going your way at the start of games.
Another shot, this one saved by the Hornets. Lukovic. The sophomore attackman with a dish back up top. Haraz on the crease, and right there is Leahy, the freshman out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. with his 9th goal of the year.
Yeah, right there you saw Zacharias just trailing him, and that's why he was able to get his hands free. Defense has got to have more pressure on the ball, stick in the hand, so that way that pass is a little harder.
And that's the kind of shot he loves, fading away. He can get so much power for that, even with a guy that's standing at 5'6", 150 pounds. First face-off win of the day for the Seagulls. DeFazio reels it in. Raz will roll it over towards midfield for Stroop. Stroop, someone will see at midfield, will see it attack. A lot of guys on this Salisbury offense play positionless lacrosse. Great move, wraps around, can't put it on the mark. Sealy off the carpet.
That's a great move by Stroop there. He wants to get to his left hand, but Lynchburg, knowing that, is trying to take that away, and he comes back with his right hand, so that's a great move by him.
An early 4-0 deficit for the Hornets, looking to try and cut into the deficit, but turnovers have been the kryptonite thus far.
Something this Lynchburg offense has got to understand is that they're not going to get a 4-point goal here anytime soon. That's just not the nature of the game. They got to take it one at a time, get the best shot per possession, and slowly chip away.
The Hornets in dire need of a defensive stop. Keaton taking the shorty down low, dishes it off to Haraz. Haraz now working from X back up top. Got away. That should be over and back, and it is. Lynchburg wants to go. Meadows realizes he doesn't have numbers. He'll slow it down.
There's something to watch here as Meadows has Bromwell stuck on the defensive side of the field, and Bromwell's now switched over to an attackman. See how much time and how quickly Salisbury's going to try to get him off the field.
Rust taking on Michaeliski. Double team come, lost the handle, and the Seagulls got a chance to get out in front. It's Bromwell, 4-on-3, lets it rip. Another great save by Miller. And Miller wants to roll. Showing off the wheels, dishes it back for Steele. Now Lynchburg tries to take it the other way. Another turnover.
Miller is a very athletic goaltender. He has several points over his career at Lynchburg. He likes to get out, get those ground balls.
Bromwell, extra pass on the doorstep. Did it go? No, a save. That one flirted with the goal line.
And we'll see if that changes anything for the Lynchburg defense. Getting a little lucky with that one, not getting all the way into the net. Great job by Andrew Miller.
Miller with a big-time save. He's faced a whole lot of shots here early on. 2 saves thus far for the Salisbury keeper. Hastings retreats.
This is what he wants. He likes this short stick matchup.
Down the alley. An extra dish. Nothing right there on that sequence. Hogg will give it a go. Back up top. Shot saved. What a day for the graduate goalkeeper out of Prince Frederick, Maryland. You know, the experience is really starting to show. This is a guy that's been an everyday starter for the last 2 seasons for Salisbury.
Absolutely. He's played in a lot of big-time games for the Seagulls, but something that the Lynchburg offense has to do is they got to make his life more challenging, going high to high and putting everything on the stick side. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to make those saves. He is too good of a goaltender to let up soft ones like that.
Yeah, he's a guy that led the NCAA in goals against average across all three divisions with just a tick over 7. What about a defensive play made right there by Mahoney? Can't find a streaking midfielder, but they'll build it from behind. Holman calling for it. He'll come across the center of the field. Finds daylight. Great clear there by the Hornets. Now Voigt wants to go. Not many transition offense opportunities thus far for Lynchburg. We saw one that they had from Frankel off the faceoff, but it was a beautiful trail check that caused another turnover. Holman across the top of the box. Underhand. Got it on the money. Lynchburg finds their first of the afternoon. It's the sophomore out of Towson, Maryland.
Absolutely. Great shot by him. He's able to put it in a spot that the goalie's not able to get to. It is off stick on the low side, right above the knee, right around that shin area. That's a hard shot for any goalie to save, and he's going to make him pay anytime he gets his hands free.
And that feels like a big one, Chris, just to stop the bleeding and try and gain a little bit of momentum as we approach the second quarter.
Absolutely, and with Frankel winning all these faceoffs, Lynchburg, if they're putting the ball in the back of the net, they can almost make it a make-it-take-it type game, and keeping the ball out of Bromwell and the rest of that Salisbury offensive hands, like, that's exactly what you want.
Well, it seems like Frankel really could be an X factor for the Hornets this year with how he's played. They really did miss him against Pfeiffer, but they were still able to hold their own at the center circle. But when I talked to Berkman, it felt like he knew what was coming. Here's a great opportunity. Schmidt couldn't get that one past the defenseman. Looked like that one was picked off midair before it got to the cage.
And that is something that Salisbury loves to do. They have their sticks up in those passing lanes and a lot of times in the shot lanes. And if they can get the ball before it ever hits the goal or gets to the goalkeeper, they're going to be happy.
Flag is down. Unsure what it is here. Seems like it might just be a timeout, but I'm not sure why Laundry would have been thrown. Nevertheless, timeout taken by Salisbury with the shot clock turned off. 30 seconds to go here in the first quarter of action. Stick with us here on LHSN.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
A good citizen is someone who wants to make a positive impact, both in their communities and in the world around them. The Division III approach is absolutely the best approach out there for amateur sport because it wants student athletes to explore all parts of who they are. Be successful in the classroom, be successful in competition, be successful.
And we welcome you back into the Berg. It's 4-1 Salisbury out in front. An offensive clinic thus far, 4 unanswered goals, but a response from Liam Holman. Nevertheless, 29.2 on the game clock and a man-up situation here for Salisbury.
Yeah, look for them to run a set play here with a 30-second penalty. They're going to try to look for that one-timer, and if not, maybe hold it so that way they can retain possession going into the second quarter.
Long and Della lead the team with man-up goals, and right there it's Stroop. Well, not a bad option.
Absolutely. That is something that Andrew Miller, I think, the first one all day that he probably wishes he had back. That shot's from about 14 out. Low to low, doesn't change levels, but can't be in the box because those are the shots that you're going to give up.
Lead back up to 4. Still not out of here yet. You could always have a chance to move in transition or obviously hold and maintain possession going into the second quarter. Frankel 4 for 5 today at the face-off circle. And a win right there from Salisbury. Will they go for it? Yes, but the shot was deflected. Still having possession. It's on the deck. And that's how we'll end the first quarter of action. 5 goals from the Seagulls. This offense has come to play. We'll step aside here on LHSN and Lacrosse TV.
Your greatest critic is right here. Now that is poetry. That's Fandom U. It's all part of the curriculum. The NCAA D1, D2, and D3 men's and D1 women's lacrosse championships. May 23rd through the 26th in Boston. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets. Class dismissed.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we welcome you back into the broadcast booth. It's the Seagulls out in front 5-1 over the Hornets. 5 different Seagulls have scored today, but it's Haraz that's really been the orchestrator with 3 assists.
Absolutely. Something that I said at the beginning was that they're going to look to feed each other. They love to assist the ball and the goal scorers. They have taken that chance, and here we go.
Well, Amphi's starting to gain some momentum at the face-off. It was all Franco early on. And now the preseason All-American honorable mention finding his rhythm. Now it's Keaton attacking down the left alley. He'll send it back. He's someone that shifted to that starting attack line in March of last season and finished 4th on the team with 43 goals, 40 of which came after March 13th. A scrum on the inside, and it turns into a Seagull goal.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate one for Andrew Miller. He's played great so far today. He's right around 50% on save percentage, and something like that it just didn't bounce his way. He had one in the first quarter that was able to stay out of the net. This one just gets knocked off the knee, goes right over Andrew Miller.
Had it for a moment, popped out of the stick, and Chris Wong is right there to clean it up on the crease once again. I mean, he is such a threat anytime he's around the circle.
I mean, you see that all the time. Goal scorers get bounces that go their way, and that is what he is.
His second of the afternoon. Ball finds its way to Hastings. Harassed by a pair of Seagulls. Oh, a big shove in the back. That'll go Lynchburg's way. Some physicality here to start the second quarter.
Coaching staff's looking for a push without possession right in the back. They could have, Salisbury got away with that one.
And that's one that could have been a minute-long non-releasable kind of penalty as you take another look at it right there. Nevertheless, Lynchburg ball trailing by 5. Seagulls with their largest lead of the afternoon. Holman with possession, the only Hornet with a goal this afternoon.
You can see Holman really trying to get to his left hand, but rolling back to his right, seeing if they can shake off the defender.
And a tough matchup with Bucksbaum. He's another guy that transferred in this season. Played last year for Florida Southern, a Division II school. Good roll back. Hastings to the inside. Couldn't connect with Voigt.
Salisbury did a great job of getting into Hastings' hands there, making it a little bit of an awkward pass, even though Hastings was able to find a little separation there. He's getting his hands stuck and putting that ball right in the ground. Makes it real hard for Voigt to catch that on the move.
Strube, extra pass. Great save made by Miller. He might have gotten an assist from the pipe right there.
Great hustle play by Cole Zacharias, diving for the ball, knowing that it's when and where the ball goes out, whoever's closest to it. And that is something that the Hornets will get fired up about. That is something during practice Coach Kudelka preaches about, is being the tougher guy and diving to the ball so that way you can get those extra possessions that are going to be critical in trying to make this comeback.
Well, you certainly need a spark of offense. A great stop on the defensive end, but Salisbury's done a fantastic job of keeping Lynchburg quiet, which is a big thing that we talked about early with this experience that this defensive unit has.
Absolutely, and something that in the first quarter alone, having 3 caused turnovers and having the Lynchburg offense have 7 turnovers is hard. And a lot of these possession saves, although they don't go down as turnovers, that is something that the Lynchburg coaching staff is going to not be real happy with.
Here's another shot and another goal. Chris Wong with his 3rd of the afternoon, scorching hot.
That is a great play and transition. You know, Seagulls, if they get an opportunity to push the ball, they're going to. They feel confident, whether it's the goalie, the poles, the short stick D mids, everyone is able to carry the ball, move it down the field, and open up opportunities.
It all started in transition. A great feed that sets up a wide open opportunity for the Seagulls. Another battle here at faceoff. Longest one of the day. A rake, a goose, and a scoop right there by the Hornets.
That's a great job by Frankel. Even though he doesn't win the initial clamp, finding a way to stick with the ball, stick with the ground ball, and get it back to the defense so that we can set up a good clear.
Chris, in your mind, I mean, obviously there's a big disparity on the scoreboard right now. What's been the biggest difference maker in your mind?
I think the big thing is that Salisbury is causing issues with the Lynchburg offensive players, is causing issues that they're not able to get their hands free. And that is something that Coach Berkman really preaches on, is staying in the hand so that way no matter what the pass is, it's a hard pass to make.
Unsure what the whistle is here. We'll hear from the officials in a moment, but Berkman was livid. Now having a word with the official, he's now telling him to retreat back to the sideline.
Yeah, it looks like there's a flag down, and Coach Berkman's not happy with that. That is something that's going to bail the Lynchburg offense out, even though after a bad play.
So it'll be a 1-minute penalty. They'll call unnecessary roughness. Yeah, you see it right there. I mean, that's an easy call.
That is something that the Salisbury coaching staff's not too happy about. They're saying that the goalie from Lynchburg, Andrew Miller, sort of took a dove there, but, you know, you're up 6-7-1 right now. You got to be more disciplined than that.
Thought another flag was just thrown. Flag came out of the pocket of the official. Nevertheless, we'll resume action. Shot clock reset. Lynchburg with their first man-up opportunity of the day. They've been strong in this category through 2 games.
And something that the Salisbury defense is going to do is lock off Jake Russ in hopes of doing exactly that, causing some chaos and creating a turnover.
Vandenberg creating some chaos.
That is something that Vandenberg does a great job, is he loves to ride. He loves to cause havoc when Lynchburg turns the ball over because he wants to get those extra possessions back.
One thing that's really impressed me today, Chris, is just the passing and the ball movement, not just from the offense, but also with these long poles on the defensive side. It's made life really difficult for Lynchburg to ride, and Salisbury's had so much success with clearing today. I feel like they've gotten every single one of them across midfield.
Absolutely, and that is something that it looks like the Lynchburg offense is going to get a little bit of a change, see if they can spark something new with putting in some new players such as Carter Bez, Charlie Evans.
Drive down side now. Bromwell puts it right past Miller. Top left, and this sideline starting to have some fun. A sniper celebration. And it feels like the right one for that kind of goal.
Absolutely. We talked about Bromwell being a feeder, but some guy who has plenty of goals across his career. He is someone that is going to look to shoot still, and he is a dual threat.
Face-off win by the Hornets. Sealy will bring it across the timeline. Ricocheted away as they try to get it to Evans. He's back in the mix. Picks it up off the deck.
To go off what you said earlier, just another sort of awkward possession for Lynchburg to start off. Salisbury just taking care of the ball, having good, clean, crisp passes. Lynchburg struggling to get the ball around, and that is making things so much more challenging for them.
8-1, Salisbury out in front by a controllable margin. Holman down the right alley with his offhand. Can't put it on net. That one might have gotten the outside part of the netting.
We'll see what this second unit on the attack group for Lynchburg can do with Bez and Evans as well as Rubley.
Well, we can see what they do right there. Bez, a bouncer, low to high, and that guy gets Lynchburg their second of the afternoon. Once again at a much-needed time. Have you noticed it's been 2 4-1 runs?
Absolutely. That is something that Lynchburg's got to help with, and something that really capitalizes Bez there is the fact that he's changing levels. That is something that some of the goals that have gone in have been when the Lynchburg shooters change levels. Salisbury has too good of a goaltender to let in soft, easy ones that aren't changing levels, and now Frankel's going to try to keep this run going. If Lynchburg can score a couple here, it's going to be right back where they want it.
A textbook face-off win by Frankel right there. Looks like he's just playing catch in the backyard with Quincy White. And Quincy's someone that's really impressed us so far this year in his freshman season, has really inserted himself as one of the go-to defensive midfielders.
Absolutely. The kid from the Baylor School out in Chattanooga, Tennessee, he is a great athlete, and that's something that the coaching staff was really excited about when he committed, is that he's going to be a great athlete, and he just loves to work hard.
I'm glad you bring up the Baylor School, because I noticed that's where he went to high school. I feel like there's about 50 of them. I feel like they're everywhere.
Absolutely. Great athletic department.
He'll say that one was tipped. Last touched by his Seagull. Brody Mason will reset. 30 on the shot clock. Curling around, can't put it on. Just a tad off the mark. Lynchburg right there to back it up.
This is a great opportunity. Carter Bez, a couple years ago, last time Lynchburg and Salisbury matched up on Schellenberger Field, he had quite a day, even though the Hornets lost in overtime 2 years ago. But seeing him back out on the field, he is someone that he's really taken a lot of responsibility and become someone that's helpful to come off the bench for the Hornets.
And Chris, I know you're a former midi. I'm a former long stick, so when I see balls being knocked down like Salisbury has done today, puts a smile on my face. I mean, they've had quick hands, they've had quick sticks. It has been beautiful today from Salisbury. I mean, they have really looked like they're in midseason form.
Absolutely. That is something with, obviously you wonder if the 4 games compared to the 2 games is something that Salisbury is able to work out a couple more kinks in their game and knowing where they need to be, so that way when they come and face these top 20 opponents like Gettysburg last week, like Lynchburg this week, they're able to be in midseason form already.
The Seagulls looking to add to their total right here. Curling from X. Back up top. Now Bromwell will attack. With a left hand off the mark. 36 on the shot clock. Oh, what a move. Split dodge, saved by Miller.
And that's a great job by Andrew Miller, staying big in front of that ball. Something that he's got to work on, though, is controlling that rebound so he's not laying up these opportunities on the second chance.
But how about the split dodge from Haraz? I mean, he looked like Allen Iverson crossing over. Evans on the inside. Dishes it back for Bees. Nice spin move. Help comes from the weak side off the screen from Mike Elski.
And that is something Salisbury loves to do, is as soon as a opponent rolls, as soon as they see the back of their head, they're sending that second player to cause havoc and try to create these turnovers on defense.
Mikulski once again matched up from X. I mean, that's traditionally when you've got a shorty defending an X, that's something you want to attack, but he's had a very, very strong day, a really strong season as well. He's played in 3 of the 4 games. We just didn't see him play against Scranton.
And there's another form. Jake Russ goes to roll, and as soon as the Salisbury defenders see the back of his head, they're sending that slide.
And something that won't show up on this stat sheet, but how about the kick right there from the freshman Will Rubley, just to keep it in play and maintain possession. Those kind of gooses can really be a difference maker in that ground ball battle. Great save made by the keeper once again. And the Seagulls take possession.
And I think the big thing that Lynchburg at half is going to have to realize is the shots that are going in are the ones that are changing levels and making it hard for the goalie, going away from the stick side, where the ones that are easy to save are the ones that are going high to high, stick side, low to low, stick side, and not changing levels there.
Ransom with a really strong performance this afternoon. 15 shots for Lynchburg. Only 2 goals to show for it. To give you a little bit perspective, Salisbury with 22 shots thus far. They'll play it from X. Haraz back up top. And great defensive stand right there from Lynchburg. It's a long pole, Will Hicks.
Looks like Coach Berkman really wanted a moving screen there, and the ref is telling him to settle down a little bit, as well as his assistant coaches. No need to have a turnover just because of the coach yelling at the official.
And what feels like the first Salisbury turnover in about 20 minutes gives Lynchburg possession. Let's see if they can get it across midfield. They've got Rust looking for a deep connection, moving in transition, and a nice stutter step to get himself free.
Something that Lynchburg's going to have to do is take advantage of that Salisbury mistake. That is something that they have not done great, and something that Salisbury has done well, is taking advantage of the opponent's mistakes.
Lynchburg looking to capitalize here. Voigt, good pass. Vandenberg on the doorstep, saved by Ransom.
That's just a great save by Ransom. Some could say he's making a Ransom on that save, taking away something that looked like it was earmarked to be a goal.
I mean, a goalkeeper can really change the complexion of a ball game, and we've seen it today. We've seen it on Schellenberger all season when, you know, you can compare it to soccer. We've seen a guy like Thomas Viscuso just completely take over for Lynchburg, and that's what we're seeing today out of Ransom. I mean, he's been an absolute brick wall.
Absolutely, and that is something that only experience can get you, is having all those starts, and it's something that hopefully Andrew Miller, even though he's held his fair share, he's unfortunately gone up against someone that is just playing out of their mind.
Back up top, beautiful save made by Miller. You know, and despite 8 goals on the scoreboard, Miller is probably at his best game of the year.
Absolutely, and I think that is why the coaching staff has so much faith in him, is because when it comes to the big-time games, he's going to step up and make a great play. As that outlet pass to the middle of the field.
Quincy White wheeling and dealing. The freshman finds the back of the cage. His first collegiate goal.
And that's another point for Andrew Miller, having the assists out there, something that we talked about earlier. He is an athlete. He's going to come out of the net. Sometimes it bites you, but there it shows. Makes a great save in the clearing game. Great outlet pass to Quincy.
The freshman defensive midi getting involved. The third Hornet goal of the afternoon cuts the deficit back down to 5. We'll take another look at it. I mean, all really started by the great outlet pass by the keeper. He said, nobody's picking me up. That's a mistake.
And now we've had 2 goals, one for each team, by someone that is not an offensive player, with the pole goal from Salisbury earlier in the game, and now Quincy Williams with a short stick goal here.
That's an excellent point, Chris. No shortage of offense here in the first half, despite the position. Lynchburg trying to seize some momentum after the early movement at the faceoff circle by Malamphy. Underneath pass for Finn Schmidt over the top, but able to corral it. Still plenty of time to go. Schmidt on the doorstep. Look out. Back-to-back goals by Lynchburg. And the Hornets offense starting to find its groove.
And that's a great play. And it all starts with Frankel getting the faceoff win, causing a little stress on Malamphy. We'll see what that creates here if the Hornets can take advantage. But something that I said earlier to you before the game even started is that Finn Schmidt needs to be an aggressor. He is someone that has the skill set, but when he's playing at his best is when he is confident, and that looks like a confident move there.
And a great way to get past a keeper that's having a career-type day, get within arm's reach.
Absolutely.
Beautiful ball laid out, but an even better check made by the Hornet defenseman. It's Cole Zacharias, the senior out of Woodstock, Georgia.
And that's a great play by Zacharias, laying his body out on the line. You saw it with Andrew Miller taking that check to draw a flag, and now Cole Zacharias. That is what this Lynchburg program's about, is having these seniors lay out for things.
Well, they couldn't do anything with it. 20 seconds to get it across the timeline. But beautiful defense on the ride from Salisbury.
And that is something that Salisbury did right there, is they dropped back, made Lynchburg make passes in the defensive end. They said, that's fine. We'll let you take all day long because at the end of the day, you only have 20 seconds to get it over. And if you're going to take up that whole time, we can play relaxed and let you make the mistake.
Strube. A 5-second difference between shot and game clock.
Salisbury, beware that they may call a timeout here if they don't get something in these next couple seconds to set up a set play.
Strube on the inside. Another stop. Looked like that one might have hit the attackman in Wong.
Lynchburg's got to go here with about 30 seconds left. Getting it up to Quincy Williams. Let's see if he has any spark left in him, or watch for a timeout here by Lynchburg.
Hastings telling White to go. Gets it into the box, and the Hornets will take a timeout. 16.7 on the game clock. Lynchburg has cut the deficit back down to 4 after back-to-back goals. We'll step aside momentarily. Stick with us here on LHSN Lacrosse TV.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
In NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And we welcome you back into the Hill City for some Saturday lacrosse. A top 20 matchup between the Salisbury Seagulls and the Lynchburg Hornets. Salisbury took a 5-1 lead into the second quarter. We've been knotted up at 3 apiece here in the second frame. 15 seconds left to go. We'll see what Lynchburg has out of the timeout. Hastings on the near side. Dodges to goal line extended, spins back and lost his twig. Salisbury another full field heave. They found goal on one of those. Nevertheless, an 8-4 landmark is how we'll head to the intermission. Chris, first half takeaways?
I think something that Lynchburg's got to be pleased with is that at the end of the day, they have not played a very good game. I think the coaching staff would agree with me when I say that, but to only be down 4 and have 3-3 in that second quarter is something that they can take and use that as momentum going into the second half. And then at Salisbury, as well as they're playing, I still think that they probably have another level. Coach Berkman's going to be a little upset with some of these weak goals that they've let up as defensive players. They let that one goal get finish it right to the crease. That is something that Berkman's not going to be real pleased about.
Chris Wong leads all scorers with a hat trick in the first half. We'll have more for you when we come back here on LHSN.
So class, in lieu of a pop quiz, we will instead have a pop tailgate. The NCAA Men's and Women's Lacrosse Championships, May in Boston. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Passion's love. Passion is love for what you do. Because I think when you face challenges, it comes down to how much you want it and how much you love it. Passion is what keeps you going forward. Seeing so many people that were like-minded and so hardworking in their sport and academics, being surrounded by like-minded people makes you want to be more passionate. I think it pushes you to a different level that maybe you didn't think you had. And you can do the best of both worlds and love.
Proportion to me is the lived experience of our Division III student athletes. They balance life from an academic perspective and the rigors of competing at a high level, bonding with teammates and building lifelong friendships. But they also are involved in their communities. They work jobs and internships and volunteer. They've learned to be resilient. Diverse experiences are setting them up for the
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to
I teach the art of fanology, a job I take seriously. As to the question of nature versus nurture, is a fan born or is a fan made? I know this. Our game can make a fan out of anyone. And at Fandom U, we take it to a whole new level. The NCAA Championships, attended.
And we welcome you back. And now we welcome you back to the Hill City. Lynchburg trailing to Salisbury 8-4 here in the Hill City. It's been a fun first half of action filled with offensive flurries. Chris Wong leading the way. His second and third goal of the afternoon scored right there. Bromwell's gotten involved. It's been a host of Seagulls, but a big-time response from Lynchburg. Quincy White getting the fourth and final goal for Lynchburg in that second quarter, late in that contest. Real quickly, let's go over first half stats between these two sides and take a look at the numbers. As you see right there on your screen, Salisbury doing an excellent job of moving the ball quickly. That shows with those 5 assists. Also a strong day by the Hornets in Frankel at the faceoff circle.
Absolutely. Something that the Hornets have been able to do is they've been able to control the faceoff X. Besides that first one here to start the second half, they've done an awesome job, and that has really helped the Hornets keep this game within reach.
Here's Bromwell dishing it underneath. Wong. Did that one go through? Yes, it did. Chris Wong with his 4th goal of the afternoon, a hat trick in the first half, and he's keeping the party going.
He does a great job of getting inside leverage there. It's going to be a waved off penalty, but he's able to get his shoulders inside, so that way the defender is between the defender and the goal, the only option left is to push him right into the goalie.
A slippery finish on the interior from the 5'11", 180-pound junior out of Wilmington, Delaware. Had 5 goals through the first 4 games of this season. Almost has doubled that total just here today through 2 quarters and 36 seconds.
Absolutely, and now looks like Lynchburg's had a chance to get right back to the faceoff X, and here they are.
A swarm of Hornets right there, and it causes a turnover. The second of the day for Salisbury.
And just because that will go down as a faceoff win for Salisbury, that is really a faceoff win for Lynchburg because they're not able to get into the offensive half and get a possession out of that. Great job by the wings there for Lynchburg.
Well, we've seen a little bit of that from Salisbury here today. Now a taste of their own medicine after the great response out of the locker room from Berkman and company.
The Lynchburg player right there, Grant Voigt, using his body to try to create space. The Salisbury coaching staff asking for a ward.
Holman, a right-handed shot off the split dodge. A beautiful chase down from Salisbury. And they take over.
Lynchburg here trying to help ride the ball, causing havoc, but Salisbury is able to get it over with about 6 to 7 seconds of time.
Now Bromwell will approach. Split dodge to the left hand, rolls back to the right. Here's another chance, stopped by Miller. And a crease violation on Wong.
Looks like Wong just wants to really live right around that crease area. It's worked out very well for him so far today. That way, that time he gets caught stepping into the crease, causing a turnover.
Now Holman will reset. You really want to try and regain some of that momentum you had towards the end of the second quarter if you're Lynchburg. Salisbury has led by as many as 6 here today.
And right now, Parker Seeley has someone stuck on the defensive end. We'll see what they can try to do here for Lynchburg. Jake Russ is waiting at the midfield line, seeing if he can maybe get an odd man situation when they do call for Parker Seeley to make that substitution.
Hastings working on Johnston. Drives in with the left, rolls back to his right. He lets it go. What a save between the legs. Oh my goodness.
That's a great job by the Salisbury keeper. I think that one might hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, that one, he's going to feel that one. That one will certainly leave a mark. He got lucky that one wasn't a little bit higher.
Absolutely.
He is down. He's on a knee right outside the crease.
Hopefully he's okay there. I think just the nature of the position, goalies are very resilient. They they almost enjoy getting hit by the ball. I think that's why they've chosen, and they are so successful.
I don't know why they enjoy it. Bromwell dancing around. Oh, my goodness. Bromwell with a boogie.
That's what happens. Bromwell sees that he's got the short stick matchup. He's just going to have him out on an island and just wait until he can free his hands. Parker Seeley doing a good job of trying to stay in front of him, giving up a shot from about 13, 14 yards. Sometimes good defense is just not enough to outdo good offense.
What a play by Bryce Bromwell. You know, if he doesn't have the name Boogie Bromwell, I think that's a good argument for it right there. He was grooving right there. Good goose by DeFazio. And DeFazio able to take possession. Salisbury with a big face-off win. A chance to take their largest lead of the afternoon with this possession.
Lynchburg's going to have to rely on this defense to sort of stop the bleeding. Salisbury's sending their first midfield unit back out there, see if they can really step on the throat. Something that they do great as a program is really emphasizing dominating the third quarter, coming out similar to how the Warriors back in the 2010s did in the NBA.
Spin move, a shot with the left hand, no good. And some physicality after the play. We'll roll it from X.
You can see on this replay, just putting it right where he wants it. Andrew Miller having a hard time.
Double teamed left Dello wide open, ricocheted off the outside edge of the pipe. Leahy from X. Back up top. Oh my goodness. Another one that hit off the post. Shot from the top of the box. This one's through. What a start to this second half. Haraz gets his first goal of the afternoon, his fourth total point.
Yeah, someone who's been really feeding the ball today finally gets in the action. Andrew Miller just getting bombarded by shots there. Lynchburg almost looking like they're playing back on their heels instead of attacking the offense. They give up a shot that, unfortunately, Miller had no chance against.
The Hornets have been suffocated here in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Salisbury with 3 unanswered goals to take all the momentum right back. Now they're out in transition. Oh my goodness, off the deck and in, Malamphy.
That's a big one for Salisbury, trying to really put this game out of reach with these quick goals here to open up the half. That is something that they like to do, is really jump on opponents. When they see blood in the water, they like to attack, and that is what they're doing right now.
The junior out of Annapolis, Maryland, gets his 3rd goal of the season right there, and it's a 4-0 start to the second half here for the Seagulls. I mean, we talked about him being a threat in transition. There's a great example of it.
Absolutely, and I think that right now Lynchburg's throwing something else out at the faceoff X to see if they can slow it down.
Rocco in a battle. Once again, it's won with a ground ball by the most outstanding player of the year from 2024. I mean, you see why this guy was a first-team All-American and on the watch list for player of the year once again this season. Such a threat at that midfield line when he decides to play long stick mid. He also can go back and play close. I mean, he is a really versatile athlete.
Yeah, he's what they call a vacuum out on the wings, loves to scoop up balls, and then when he's down low, he's almost like that eraser, taking away the opponent's best player.
Ingley lays it underneath. Ryan Dello with it now, guarded by Steele. Steele with an assortment of checks, trying to make him uncomfortable, but Della seems more than comfortable right now. Another goal, the 5th here in the 3rd quarter.
And just over 6 minutes of time passed, the Seagulls really jumping out on the Hornets' throat. Lynchburg looks like they're going to have to find a way to regain control of the face-off X, and if they're able to do that, they'll have a shot. But obviously, face-offs at the first half, Lynchburg was able to control that. Now with Salisbury really controlling the X this quarter, it is left no choice for the Hornets.
Della, a guy that had 7 goals and 2 assists during his freshman season, now this year has already surpassed that mark by a whole lot. 11 goals this year now, along with 1 assist. Talk about his sophomore leap for Ryan Della. And found that one 5-hole right through the legs of Miller. Things have gone from bad to worse for Lynchburg here in the third quarter. Bromwell trying to add to it. Half a dozen.
Absolutely. Bromwell, has the range. That is just a poor job by the face-off man, or by the defense, letting them continue to back up and let him have that full head of steam, just absolutely rip it and grip it and put it in the bottom corner.
Stepping just an inch inside the box. Limitless range Hall of Fame. And the Hornets want a timeout. 13-4. It's been all Salisbury here in the second half. Well, we had a 4-goal game at the intermission. That has now ballooned up to double digits after 6 unanswered goals from the Salisbury Seagulls in the opening 6.5 minutes. I mean, Chris, what's been working so well for Salisbury here?
I think something that is they're now dominating where the face-off X is, something that Lynchburg had in the first half, and that has really allowed them to sort of play make it take it, something that we said Lynchburg would have the opportunity to do if they could get things going on the offensive end, but really the offense has not had much time with the ball, and it's been all Seagulls this second half.
And Bromwell has been a big difference maker for Salisbury here today. As you see him putting Sealy into the blender. Back up top. Off the top pipe.
And they'll get a reset for that. Great find from Bromwell to find the top of the box for a step-down shot there.
Della guarded by Steele. He'll give Ty Keaton a crack at it. Keaton, a guy that had 6 hat tricks last year in 2024. Here with a nice dime, but a better save. The first one of this second half for Miller. Now Quincy out in transition. We've seen what he can do earlier on.
What Lynchburg needs here is a good offensive possession, use the full shot clock, come away with a goal, so that way the defense can get a little bit of a break and they can go from there.
It'll be Voigt. Takes the high screen from the long stick midi. Step down bouncer on the mark.
I know I said they needed to take a long possession, but I'm sure that the Hornets and Coach Kudelka will be very happy with that outcome.
14-5. We apologize for the technical difficulties with our score bug. Nevertheless, a big one from the 5th year out of Phoenix, Maryland.
And something that Lynchburg has been successful is when they are changing planes on these shots, that is when the ball's going in. A lot of these goals on the Salisbury keeper is something that's been when they change possession or change planes.
So the lead back down is single digits for Salisbury. Lynchburg with another win at the face-off circle. Now can you string a couple together?
And it looks like Salisbury's going to shut off Jake Russ and see if that does anything.
Well, Holman's right there, sweeping across with a left hand. Don't let him get hot.
Great shot by Holman, going low to low, but putting it off stick right around the shin of the keeper. That's a hard one for him to save.
Low to low, but it'll go right past Nicholas Ransom. Back-to-back goals in a matter of seconds for Lynchburg. That's really the momentum they needed after a rapid 6-0 onslaught from Salisbury.
Absolutely. This makes it a little bit more manageable. And something that we've seen is Lynchburg wins those two faceoffs, gets the ball, and that is what has led to the success.
Well, now it's a new faceoff man. It's the freshman Charles Fritchman getting a win here for Salisbury. He hasn't seen a whole lot of action so far this year, but he's certainly someone that can get it done. And Chris, this is obviously one that both of these teams want to come away with here today, and a chance to pick up a ranked win. Both these teams, though, with a very difficult schedule this season, they'll have a host of ranked matchups. But obviously, if you're Salisbury, you're coming off a really big win over Gettysburg, and that's a rivalry going all the way back to the early 90s as another one gets past Miller for the 15th of the afternoon.
And that's a tough one for Miller to let in there. I think just getting that feed right over the crossbar, getting it right to the crease, allows for an easy dunk there. You can see it goes right over. It almost looks like it hits Miller and goes in, so that's a real unfortunate one for him. That's probably the second one of the afternoon. That's just ball hasn't bounced your way.
Della with a quick stick, his second goal the third quarter. You know, as we go back to talking about these team schedules, is Meadows now out in transition, 4-on-3. Meadows! A long pole goal for Lynchburg and a quick response.
That's a great job by Luke there. He loves to push it in transition. Last year as a short stick D mid had several goals. The year before had several goals. And now having a pole in his hand doesn't change the outcome.
Well, it's the Lynchburg native, the product out of VES, with his first goal of 2025 here in the third goal this season. There's so much I want to talk about, but these guys are making it tough.
Absolutely. The quick play here going back and forth is the reason why you love lacrosse, but it makes our jobs a lot more challenging to get all our comments in.
At Lynchburg, you start the season, you've got 3 games at home, which is a great advantage to start your year on your home turf. But obviously a tough result in that first one where Lynchburg really couldn't get the offense going in that monsoon against Gettysburg. But you also got to give Gettysburg their credit. I mean, that's a team that played Salisbury within 1 goal and a very, very talented close defense group.
Absolutely. I mean, Gettysburg has a lot of returns from last year, a team that made the NCAA tournament that was a good team. And then I think that is actually what gave Salisbury some confidence, knowing that they beat Gettysburg, and now that was a team that came to Lynchburg and won over us, and that was a pretty deciding victory there.
And this early in this season, no matchup, especially those against 2 ranked opponents, is going to be considered a quote-unquote must-win game, but you'd love to get that on your resume and really build it up. Nevertheless, I mean, right after this game, Salisbury has to go and play Wesleyan, a top 10 team in the country. They've got CNU later on in the year, and also talented squads like with Dennison and Stevenson and Keene. They've got really strong opponents on deck, and it's the same thing for the Hornets. You've got Stevenson, Dennison, CNU at the Mustang Classic, which will be a whole lot of fun. W&L, obviously, later on in the year, which is a big-time rivalry between the 2 top teams in the ODAC. little bit of shake and bake from Holman. Gets to his left, but poked away. A beautiful check by the gold and maroon.
Absolutely. Here, Lynchburg's definitely going to try to find a way to cut this lead so that way it's less than half, and gain a reset on that shot, hitting the post, allows for a fresh 60 seconds.
Shot clock resets. Finn Schmidt, who's had a quiet day today, starts to make some noise.
That is a great job by Finn Schmidt. He did it in the first half, getting to the front of the crease, does it again. When he plays with confidence, he plays at full speed. There are very few people in this country, let alone this game, that are going to be able to cover him, even people like the players of the year.
And he's the guy that you wouldn't use the word fast for. You're using quick.
Absolutely. That first step allows that separation that he's able to get and really put himself in there. He does a great job of protecting his stick and finishing in front.
Big time to finish on the inside. No hold called. Nevertheless, the Hornets in Rocco come away with a win at the faceoff.
Now here's an opportunity for Lynchburg to really tack on another one, see if they can keep the momentum. This first line's going to come out here again. It looks like they're shutting off Jake Russ, and that is something that Holman and Voigt are going to have to take advantage of. They're going to get the pulls on them, but what are they going to be able to do from there?
Able to get it to Rust after the V cut right at midfield. I mean, it is wild how far out they're playing him. Rust, dish over to Holman, sidestep, gotta move, got another. Holman gets past Bucksbaum, tucks it away.
And that was a great shot by Holman. We've seen him go low to low on his first 2 goals. That time he goes low to high, changing it up. Goalie, you saw him make that little bit of a dip, and then he ends up getting burnt on it because Holman does a great job of shot placement.
Dude, I love lacrosse. This has been so much fun. 9-15, it's been a game of runs back and forth. And a timeout taken by the Seagulls. The Lynchburg sideline coming alive. 6-goal game here in the Hill City.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence.
I believe sportsmanship is it's a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize
And we welcome you back into the Hill City. Salisbury and Lynchburg in a battle. Salisbury opened up the quarter with 6 unanswered goals. Since then, the Hornets' offense has really started to come alive.
Yeah, and a lot of that has been due to the fact that some players that need to step up are beating their man one-on-one, and that's a huge help.
There's been no shortage of offense here in the third quarter. It was 8-4 at the intermission. 5 goals from Lynchburg, 7 from Salisbury. But a very crucial last 3 minutes before we head to the fourth quarter, Chris.
Absolutely, and in that break right there, Coach Kudelka's telling the guys, win these next 3.5 minutes. You do that, you're going to give yourself a shot in the fourth quarter to have a ball game, and that's exactly what this Lynchburg defense, they need to hunker down, not let in anything. Andrew Miller's going to have to come up with a big save.
Obviously, you could come away with 6 goals or a 7-goal differential in that final quarter to come away with a win, but that's certainly not the easiest task. You'd love to chip away at it right here and really give yourself a chance, but it's all going to start here on the defensive end. You need a stop. And a great save right there from Miller. Thought about coming out for his second, but Meadows is right there to clean it up.
And that's a great ground ball by Luke Meadows. Gained that, and like I said, Andrew Miller needed to make a big save. He does that. Now he's going to get the ball into the offense's hand and see what they can do here.
Holman with his spin move, then a split dodge to find some daylight. Now the Lynchburg offense will get into their groove. They're trying to force him to the right. A good shutoff right there from Bryce Stevenson. Or no, pardon me, that's Jeremiah Stafford. And here's Jake Rust. No, they waved it off.
Lynchburg had too many men on the field. That's a big mistake there. Quincy was on the far side of the field, hadn't come off yet. Jake Rust comes onto the field. Unfortunate there.
And in a game where he's been guarded like Steph Curry against Matthew Dellavedova, I mean, he has really had no room to breathe whatsoever. That's a big one that hurts. And here's a chance for a big swing, saved by Miller.
And that's another big save by Miller, and that is something that is going to be huge. Something that I saw, though, on that last possession is Salisbury dropped into a zone defense. We'll see if they continue that here. Trying to slow down the Lynchburg offense, seeing that they're going to drop into sort of that 3-3 zone, and that is why they're not picking up Jake Rust from the midfield like they had been earlier on in this quarter.
About a 25-second difference between shot and game clock. Holman's had the hot hand here in the third quarter. Pass down low for Hastings. Flag flies. They'll play on till a dead ball. Trying to keep it alive. What a great play right there from Holman.
And this is big with the flag down. It is essentially a free possession for Lynchburg here because no matter what the outcome is, they'll get the ball back. So we'll see what they do here.
They'll go underneath for Hastings. Guarded by Stevenson. Around with his right. Back up top. Here's a shot on goal. Jake Rust. Top right corner.
And I guess that's why he was a preseason All-American. Doesn't need much space for him to get his hands free and make the defense pay there.
Newfound life from the Lynchburg offense. It's been the end of the quarters where they've really started to come alive. We saw it in the second quarter once again here in the third. Jake Rust finally making some noise after his first one was wiped off the board.
And that's a great pass by Riley Hastings, falling down, gets it to Jake. Jake has a great catch and shoot. Something that he does a great job is that quick release. As soon as he catches it, it's already in the shooting motion, and that makes it so hard for a goalie to pick up where the ball's going.
That penalty still going to stand, so Lynchburg a man up. 34.5 seconds to go here in the third quarter. If you like offense, you're in the right spot. 25 goals with 30 seconds to go here in the third. And a big face-off win from Salisbury. The double team's going to come.
So they'll have Seeley and Hicks trying to cause the turnover, so that way Salisbury can't maintain possession here.
Bromwell will settle. That's the right guy to try and burn the penalty with. Now Strube. That 1-2 punch has been excellent today. Also great offense provided from Della. We've seen Chris Wong obviously get involved with a team-high 4 goals. Michael Leahy as well around the crease. It's been 3 quarters of high-flying action for the fastest sport on 2 feet. Salisbury up by 5, headed to the 4th and final quarter.
So class, in lieu of a pop quiz, we will instead have a pop tailgate. The NCAA Men's and Women's Lacrosse Championships, May in Boston. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.
On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
So class, in lieu of a pop quiz, we will instead have a pop tailgate. The NCAA Men's and Women's Lacrosse Championships, May in Boston. Buy your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Salisbury out in front, 15-10. They got the second half started with 6 unanswered goals, but then the Hornets got the party started on the offensive end with a run of their own. That leaves us with a 5-goal differential with 15 minutes left to be played. Lynchburg will start the fourth quarter a man up, with Salisbury with possession.
And something that was interesting that last period is that Salisbury had only won 4 faceoffs in the first half. They ended up winning 10 there, and I think that is what really sparked them to start that third quarter.
Bromwell with possession, immediately double-teamed by 2 long poles. Heads to goal line extended, wraps back around. It seems like Lynchburg's okay just biting the bullet on this penalty.
I think they're going to try to make Bromwell's life a little bit uncomfortable here, but they're okay. They don't want to put themselves out of position and give up a soft goal.
Penalties released with 20 on the shot clock. Back to full strength for the Seagulls. Bromwell working on the short stick defensive midi. Pass to the crease, right on the doorstep, but what a save. Now Meadows streaking downfield, got it in transition, showing off the wheels.
And that's a great save by Andrew Miller.
De-twigged, what a check by Keaton. Now Salisbury, 2 men went for the same ball.
And Riley Hastings going to definitely slow this down here. You hear Coach Kadelko telling him to slow it down so that they can get a good possession here and hopefully cut this lead down to 4.
If you can really gain some momentum here, it completely changes the complexion of this ball game.
Absolutely, and something that we didn't see at the end of the third quarter was that Salisbury had sort of gotten off of Jake Rust a little bit, and they're back down to face guarding him.
Holman had a hot third quarter, 2 goals. He's got a hat trick on the day. Trying to force the lefty to his offhand. A shot with the right, saved by Ransom. Seamus back to his keeper. Not much of a ride from Lynchburg, and an easy clear as Evan Huffman brings it across midfield.
And as a Lynchburg staff, you're probably not too disappointed with the shot that Holman got there. He had his hands free. Obviously, it wasn't to his strong hand, but he's a good enough shooter where he puts it down low, changes planes, and he's had the hot hand so far.
A streaking Strube has his shot stopped by Miller. Quincy White, the freshman, able to scoop it up off the deck. Now he's showing off the wheels. Oh, splits 2 defenders, but he lost the handle. Gets it right back. Goes down, no flag. You got to get it across midfield. A hoist. Vandenberg can't get there in time. DeFazio picks it up.
And that's definitely one that Lynchburg's going to want to have back in the clearing game. They had an opportunity. There was still about 5 seconds left for them to get it over, but he just sort of panicked, threw it across midfield, and that's going to cost them here.
And there's a stick left on the field. You can see right there on the circle in front of Keaton. And how about the goose from Stevenson to keep it out in front of him to maintain possession? You like the band Goose? You ever listen to them?
I have not.
We'll check them out after this.
Sounds good.
Little jam band action. Right now, the Seagulls are jamming. An explosive day of 15 goals. Here comes the double team spinning away. Strube.
That is one that Lynchburg is going to be upset with. You have the double there, and then both of them let off, and that's something that the defensive coordinator and Coach Kudelka are not going to be too pleased with, because when you have him in that situation, you have to keep pounding there, so in hopes of causing a turnover or possibly a bad pass.
Into the blender, and Strew bringing the juice. We've seen a whole lot of celebrations from the Salisbury sideline today. No shortage of them with 16 goals thus far. That time, I don't know what to call it, but it was the Cam Ward. Is that the right?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
Picked up by McCowan.
And just like Salisbury's done the past 3 quarters, they come off hot to start each of these quarters. Big thing is going to be, can Lynchburg slow them down, not allow them to gain any momentum, so that way when Lynchburg does make a strike, because I know it will come at some point, hopefully it's just not a little too late.
Ball on the stick of the freshman Leahy, working on his shorty. Got the angle, got the dish. What a save! Bromwell follows it to the far sideline to hold on to possession. How about 45 shots today from Salisbury?
They love to let the ball fly, and that is why they have such a high-powered offense. There's no guy on that team that is afraid to let the ball loose.
The laser off the pipe. Now out and running in transition. It's Zacharias for Schmidt. And that green light turns to yellow.
And that's a great outlet pass by Meadows, finding Zacharias for that option of transition. Zacharias does a good job of sort of slowing it down, understanding what the offense needs here is time with the ball so that they can recoup and get a good shot here.
It's the D-Midian Seeley spinning back to his right. Now for Hastings.
Seeley has Bromwell stuck here on defense. They want Hastings with that matchup. And it gets his stick checked there. Unfortunate for them.
Got his hands free for a moment, but Seamus Johnston stuck with it. He has really had a phenomenal day thus far. A guy that has a whole lot of experience. Made 49 games back at Trinity College in Connecticut. Started in 44 of those. Bromwell thought about this step-down shot. Decides to pull it back.
And I think that was a yellow call coming from the Salisbury sideline, telling Bromwell, we don't need one right now. We're up 6. Possession is a little bit more important than a goal here.
The clock is certainly your best friend with 9:15 to go, leading by 6.
And you'll see the second line here for Salisbury come out onto the field. Bromwell going offense, defense, then gain the ball on the clear. He comes off to the sideline knowing that they need to settle things down here and just milk the clock as much as possible.
Here comes the St. John's transfer. He'll play it underneath to X. Haraz, right back to him. A dish inside that can't be held on to. Leahy, a bounce shot right into the chest of Miller, and he wants to go quick. Out towards midfield, a beautiful body check laid down by Bryce Stevenson gives the Seagulls possession right back.
And that was what we like to call a hospital pass. He saw the opportunity, and great job by the Salisbury defender by not absolutely leveling him, because a lot of times as a defender, you see an open guy with the ball, you want to lay the boom. He does a good job of just causing the ball to go onto the carpet, and they're able to get the ball back.
Right back to the sophomore Lukovic. And he was a stud in high school. 62 goals and 32 assists in his senior season. Finished his high school tenure with 177 career points. He has been a great addition for the Salisbury squad. A handful of impact transfers this year.
And you can see Salisbury has no urgency to go to the goal right now. Coach Berkman's telling them, slow things down. We'll go with about 20 seconds left in the shot clock and then see what we can make from there.
Leahy gets this switch onto Seeley. A dish on the doorstep, poked away by Miller. A battle right in front of the crease. Snatched up by Salisbury. A high pass reeled in, and another great save off the shot from Haraz.
And you'll see Salisbury start to pull their midfielders off, and they're just going to dump the ball here in the corner so that way they can set up a good ride and hopefully maybe cause a turnover.
Raz, another one of those impact transfers, played for Cabrini last season, scored 43 goals and 55 assists during his freshman year, then 64 goals and 37 assists in his sophomore campaign. You can tell he moved a little bit from a passer to a scorer from his freshman to his sophomore year, and today he's shown you he can do a little bit of both.
Absolutely. That is something that the Salisbury offense does a great job, is those guys who one year are scorers, the next year they're more of a feed man. They can do it all because there's such great all-around type players on the offensive side.
The Hornets get it to Voigt across midfield. He's got a step. Hastings trying to wrap it around. Hastings on the money.
And that's exactly what Lynchburg needed there to try to cut this lead down to 5. They're going to want an opportunity to get the ball to the faceoff X, but when they have an opportunity, they're going to have to go with a sense of urgency and a chance to score here. Hastings does a great job there. He loves to score right around the goal.
His 4th shot of the day, his first goal of the afternoon. Had a dish earlier on in the contest, back in the second quarter. And he was our impact player to watch. But he's been kept quiet for a majority of the afternoon, working against Seamus Johnston.
This faceoff here is going to be real important.
It's a battle won by the Seagulls. The long stick Bucksbaum comes away with it. Running 2 long poles on the faceoff.
And they're offsides there. They ended up not getting it, but
the Lynchburg sideline of fans certainly unhappy with the no call.
Coach Berkman making his point to the official there that his guys were in the right because they were in the substitution box. That is why it shouldn't have been a call.
Nevertheless, a 5-goal advantage for the Seagulls here with 6 minutes left to go.
And although 5 goals in about 6 minutes is a lot, the best part about lacrosse is there's still plenty of time. Lynchburg's just going to have to hunker down here on defense, not give up any easy ones, and then start winning some draws at the faceoff X again.
Up top, Bromwell. Now down low on the doorstep, right on the crease. Haraz gets his 2nd of the afternoon. Make that 5 points for the junior transfer.
And that's a great look by Bromwell there. He gets the defense moving. Lynchburg sort of drops into a little bit more of a softer zone, and they get the ball moving around the outside, and then Bromwell sees him right across, and it's just Lynchburg was moving so much, and then Bromwell cuts right through the defense.
And Chris, right now we've got a 6-goal game, but what really feels like has been the difference maker today was that first quarter. Because since then, it has been back and forth. Granted, you've got a Salisbury advantage if you were even in that quarter, but a 4-goal differential after Salisbury came out of the gates with a 5-1 lead in the opening 15 minutes. But if you're Lynchburg, you're coming away with this saying, for 3 quarters, we were hanging with the best team in the country. And obviously, there's no such thing as moral victories in lacrosse or really any sport, but there are certainly positive takeaways on both sides as well with negative. We saw Salisbury really get dominated from X in the first half. They were able to clean it up a little bit here in the second, but still a definite advantage. Turnover. Lynchburg can't capitalize. Finn Schmidt followed his shot. Oh, no. Johnston beat him to the spot.
And that's a tough one for Lynchburg. They get an easy break there with a bad turnover in the defensive zone for Salisbury. You see the goalies, Andrew Miller's out of the cage. They're going to go for it.
Oh, almost a goalie goal. Lynchburg gave up 1 earlier on in the first quarter as Bryce Stevenson hit one from midfield with Miller out of the cage. 4:42 on the game clock. Salisbury out in front, 17-11 here on LHSN and Lacrosse TV.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person, and we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we welcome you back into the Hill City. Salisbury out in front by half a dozen. Every time Lynchburg has strung together a little run, Salisbury has had a response. It's looking to be the largest margin of victory on Schellenberger Field for Salisbury in about a decade.
Absolutely, and this is something that Salisbury came out hot, and they were able to get a lead, and they haven't really looked back since.
Wide open cage. Miller was out of position. The Seagulls couldn't capitalize.
And Bromwell there decides to pull it out, not shoot at the empty net, knowing that time is more valuable than the goal right there.
Keaton up top for Stroop. Once again, another big save by Lynchburg. You got to turn some defense into offense, though, to put yourself back into the picture. Time against you right now if you're Lynchburg.
Seeley's going to look to take this over himself, almost catch Bromwell on the sleeping end.
Seeley has his shot saved by Ransom. And an easy ground ball, or at least looked easy, from Bryce Stevenson. A flag goes flying on Lynchburg. And Salisbury, I mean, they can really just hold this for the next 70 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll look for Berkman to send that call out to his guys. Hold it, let the shot clock expire. Then they'll get a fresh shot clock because of the penalty.
Ty Keaton with it now, coming to the near sideline. White trying to push him out as far as he can. There's only so much you can do in this spot. Toying with him.
And that last shot by Seeley is something that they're going to want to have back, knowing that that is sort of what caused the turnover, and then that led to a flag there. Really unfortunate for the Lynchburg team.
15 on the shot clock. Strube now driving in, spinning back, gets his right hand free. Tough shot off the mark. Shot clock will expire with 1 remaining. Nevertheless, they've got a man-up penalty on the deck. And Strube, you know, we've talked a lot about his offense today, but he's also a very, very strong defensive player at that midfield line. Had 11 caused turnovers last year. It was the most by any short stick player, despite missing 8 games.
Yeah, once you get your short sticks causing turnovers in the midfield, that is going to allow for a lot of transition, especially with his offensive prowess. He's going to be able to pick that ball up, go, and he's not just a scorer, but he's got great vision that he's going to be able to throw it down to the attackman and make offense out of it.
Yeah, and he can certainly score. We've seen a little bit of it today. Hasn't necessarily been the primary point of attack for the offense, but and we saw him score 41 goals in 14 games last year. He had at least 2 in every contest for the Seagulls. Now as we start to look ahead, Lynchburg will have Dennison on deck. He'll travel to Ohio for their first road contest of 2025. Meanwhile, for the Seagulls, they get to go back and play at home against Wesleyan. That's going to be another big one for the Seagulls. Obviously, Wesleyan highly touted in the preseason rankings. They have not disappointed thus far.
Absolutely, and with the NESCAC teams opening up competition this weekend, Salisbury will be able to get some film on them.
Well, there you see the offense from Stroop. Top cheddar.
Great shot by Stroop there. He just lets it rip. A lot of power behind it. Unfortunately, Miller's not able to catch up to that one, and that's going to probably put the nail in the coffin today.
The 53rd shot of the afternoon from Salisbury. They've outshot Lynchburg by 20. It's given them 7 more goals. No shortage of offense from Salisbury today, and it's come in a lot of different places. Lynchburg comes away with a face-off. Voigt checks in to provide some help. Ball comes free. Scooped up by the Hornets. They reverse the field over to Miller. Seeley's got a step. 5-on-4. Voigt. Split dodge. Left-hand shot. Bottom corner.
And there's going to be no quit in this Lynchburg team. No team that Coach Kadelka ever coaches is going to ever quit on the game. So you're going to see them fight here for the next 42.6 seconds. However, unfortunately, I think it may be a little too late. But if Frankel can win a faceoff here, maybe get Salisbury to sweat a little bit more here in this last part of the contest.
And it's tough to look at this game without going back to that first quarter, because that was really the one that had the biggest differential, a 5-1 start for the Seagulls. You got to wonder how much emotion plays a factor in this when you've got such a highly touted program coming to town.
Absolutely, and I think something that this Lynchburg team's going to learn is that they're going to continue. They're a young team. They've got a lot of young players. They have a couple fifth years, but overall, a lot of guys that haven't made a lot of starts over their career on the defensive end, a lot of young guys in bigger roles this year on the offensive end, and they're going to learn from this. And the best part is about playing at Lynchburg is you're never going to have an off week. You have a next team coming in every single week wanting your best shot.
Well, there's certainly no quit in them. The Hornets not going away easy. 13-18 after the goal by the defensive Midian Seeley.
And that is something that Seeley loves to take shots. He has the offensive capability to put them past the keeper, but something that you see here is that, like I said earlier, it may be a little too late here in this contest, but like you were saying earlier, the start of the first quarter, start of the third quarter, those holes that Lynchburg gets themselves into is really what you can probably point back to and say Lynchburg's outplayed them besides that first quarter and the first 6 minutes of the third quarter.
Yeah, it really felt like the first couple of minutes in each quarter was controlled by Salisbury. You had late runs from Lynchburg in all 4 quarters, but every time it was just too little too late. And Salisbury walks away with an 18-13 win, their largest margin of victory here on Schellenberger Field in about a decade. Well, Chris, final thoughts from you?
Now, I think Salisbury, everyone knows every year they're a top team in the country. That is what Coach Berkman's done with this program. They're going to be a force. Something, though, that this Lynchburg group is going to have to understand is that you want to play your best ball at the end of the year. It's great to be playing great on March 1st, but more importantly, you want to play your best ball going on May 1st into the ODAC tournament and the rest of the season into the NCAA tournament. Obviously, the best teams are going to have to play each other at the end of the year. This Lynchburg team, they're going to want to play Salisbury again at the end of the year. Most likely that the South region is going to run through Salisbury, Maryland. They're going to host like they have for countless years. Lynchburg's going to have that opportunity to try to take them down, and hopefully that these two teams will see each other again.
And it goes to show what we talked about at the top of the broadcast. Lynchburg's offense, there's not a whole lot of worry there, especially since that Gettysburg game. They scored the most goals against Salisbury as they've allowed all year long, but defensively, you allow them to score 18, the most they've scored since their first game against Eastern, which they won 22-3. nevertheless, I mean, it's that experience on the defensive end. You got 3 new starters at close defense and a new keeper in the cage. I think Lynchburg will start to figure it out as the year goes along, but Salisbury, you got to feel good about the spot you're in right now, especially going into another ranked matchup next week.
Absolutely.
With that being said, we appreciate you spending your Saturday with us here in the Hill City. We've got to run. We got to head to Salem for men's basketball in an ODAC semifinal. We appreciate you taking your time with us. Till next time, we'll see you